his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Okay, in 6 years of Paul Watson working for me, 6+ years now, he has never IM'd me saying, I want to come on the radio. I have a major breaking story. He writes stories, he runs the website, he does customer service, and then I always have to drag him on air because, Paul doesn't like the limelight. He IM'd me, and he said, I've got a major exclusive story. Can you get me on the air right now? So I said, well, 20 minutes, and Bob Chapman will ride shotgun with us. And that just came in, and I said, call in 20 minutes, bottom of the hour. I don't even know what it is. It must be huge. Over at prisonplanet.com. And he's saying it's being intensely debated in China, but has not been in English language yet. And so his girlfriend is a Chinese master's or PhD student there in Sheffield, and she speaks fluent English. She has an English accent. She's really English, but her family, a lot of it lives in China. So Paul has been to China, and he's got a lot of insights on that. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my God. You know what, Watson, go ahead and call in now. Let me just tell him call in now, because I've been seeing rumblings of this. This is what the Pentagon's talking about as the stage crisis, and it turns out it's on mainstream news in China. Paul Watson will call in now. Sorry to do this to you, Bob, but let me get your take on this now. Colin Powell, Biden, the British Prime Minister, German Chancellor, they've all been saying a huge crisis is coming. We have to do it the 21st and 22nd, 23rd. It's going to make Obama very unpopular, but it has to be done. And most of the experts are hinting and saying it's military. Chertoff is saying it. We already saw them launch through their proxy a sneak attack 2 months ago, a month and a half ago on 888 against Russian forces. I mean, they're openly stealing all the money in front of us. They're openly sneak attacking Russia and then telling us Russia snuck attack on CNN. What's next, Bob? You were in military intelligence. What are we dealing with? Complete psychos?
Well, if you remember about a month ago with Paul Craig Roberts, we were on together. He spent 5 minutes telling us how insane these people were. And he was there in the inside. He knows these people. And so I'd go with him knowing, he certainly knows what's going on inside.
Well, we saw this a lot with Roman emperors, Aztec kings, countless others. Every 2 or 3 of them, you'd get usually they were despots, but you get complete lunatics and who just love death, destruction, war, trying to destroy themselves. And I think that's what we've got going on is just megalomania. I mean, openly trillions missing from the Pentagon, gobbling up trillions, stealing everything. I mean, just what are they doing, Bob?
They're doing exactly what you're saying they're doing, and you say to yourself, how do we stop it when you have a Congress that goes along with the program because they're all well paid off or they're compromised? And so I don't know. We can try to change Congress by getting rid of the incumbents, with the exception of a handful, including Ron Paul and Dennis Kucinich, who stands up against these people. But other than that, if that doesn't work, there's only one thing left to save our republic.
Well, Bob, the Syrians were reaching out to Israel wanting to sign a peace and energy deal. I mean, who wouldn't want to trade with Israel, the richest country out there? And they're about to sign the peace deal yesterday. So 2 days before that, a sneak attack across their border, landing in a village and shooting a bunch of people, including children. And then this stupid statement about, it was the number 10 in Al-Qaeda or something, when they admittedly have Al-Qaeda attacking the Iranians. And the Iranians sit there and take all these staged attacks. I mean, it's clearly they're trying to escalate crises.
And that's to becloud the financial and economic issues. They get people thinking about something someplace else while they go in and do what they want with taxpayer money, and not only in the United States, but virtually throughout the world. And they steal everything in sight. Now, this is a major move to a dictatorial power.
All right, Bob, you're with us for the rest of the hour. I want to bring up Paul Watson, and he's a great asset to our organization. His brother is a degreed political scientist from London, and also is doing a report on this right now. And this is inside info from China, being heavily debated in the Chinese news. But that's as much as I know. Paul has never contacted me to say, I want on the show. So this must be big, Paul Watson. Paul, from PrisonPlanet.com, what is going on?
Hello, Alex. Good to be on. Obviously, you know, my girlfriend's Chinese, and she sometimes does translations from Chinese media because there's a ton of information that comes out in Chinese media which just never makes it into English language media. And the reports are, and this is in the top Chinese mainstream news outlet, which is Sohu.com, and they cite French media news sources, and there's an intense debate about this in China right now. And the story is that the Rand Corporation recently presented a proposal to the Pentagon in which it lobbied for a war to be started with a major foreign power in an attempt to stimulate the American economy and prevent a recession. And basically, people in China are freaking out about this because they're saying that it's likely that it's either going to be China or Russia.
Well, and we always learn about this months later, but we know about the sneak attack on Russia. And again, folks, they got 10,000 nukes, Topol-Ms, and they're openly, NATO's announced that they have a preemptive strike, that they may sneak attack Russia. And then Russia comes out and says, well, we're going to defend ourselves, and the media spins that and says Russia's threatening to blow the U.S. to kingdom come. That's why the Russians are moving back into Cuba. They're moving into Venezuela. They've moved nukes into Venezuela. They're in the Gulf of Mexico. Bob Chapman.
It's all there. They're trying to defend themselves. And as you said earlier, the madmen are in Washington. And, you know, Russia and China, they just want a better life. There are, basic disagreements politically and economically. But the moving force is in Washington and in Europe, for that matter. And they're just crazy.
What they are is mad dog evil. Paul, give us more details. How long till the story is on PrisonPlanet.com?
The story's been written, so it'll be up right after I get off air. But to flesh it out a bit, basically, most people will know who the Rand Corporation are. It's basically an NGO, a non-governmental organization, think tank, with deep ties to the U.S. military-industrial complex.
Yeah, they're as high level as the CFR, interlocked, and basically everything they recommend is policy. This is the kingpin think tank for IBM, the Defense Department, for everybody.
Right, and it's got interlocking trustee connections with the Ford, Rockefeller, and Carnegie foundations as well. Now, one of the top directors of RAND at the moment is Frank Charles Carlucci III, who is the former defense secretary and the former deputy director of the CIA. And some of your listeners will remember the fact that he was also chairman of the Carlyle Group from 1989 to 2005, which of course covered 9/11 and its aftermath. And
let's explain that they are the ones that lowered defense stocks, saying it was all over after the Gulf War in 91, then literally bought up the majority of them. And what did the London Guardian report? Queen of England, Bin Laden family, and the Bushes are the chief holders of Carlyle.
Exactly, and after 9/11, after the invasion of Afghanistan, their stock went through the roof. So apparently now, Rand and the Carlyle Group are not amused at the fact that the stock market is crashing, and they want a new war to reinvigorate it. They said that...
I mean, that's evil enough, but why can't they pick Venezuela or something? Why does it have to be Russia and China?
This is the thing,
Out of their minds.
This is the thing, Alex, because the proposal directly states and stresses the fact that this new war that they want cannot be with a smaller country on the scale of Afghanistan or Iraq. In fact, with the analysis that the Chinese media are doing, they entertain the possibility that it could be North Korea, but it was ruled out because Rand wants something bigger, a bigger scale than an attack on North Korea would be.
Just bastards.
So they want a major war with an influential world power.
Madmen. I mean, when does it ever end? They're publicly stealing all the money. They're trying to start World War III. They snuck attack Russia a month and a half ago. Bob Chapman, I mean, I can't stay calm anymore.
Well, when you're as old as I am, you'll learn to. But anyway, it is that bad. And I think, there's a number of reasons for this major war, which the gentleman has just, Paul has just said. And, but, there's other aspects to this. There's a great profit-making power by financing the war from behind the scenes, the industrial complex.